All right, ladies and gentlemen, I need your help. Fill these drafts. If you want to draft against me, gonna try to fill 10 big boards right now. Rip them live. Assuming that these all fill in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'll do all 10. If they don't, well, then we'll just cut it at whatever number it is. Fell a bit behind when I was sick, so contest is over 75% filled. And I have done 81. So we got our first filled. If you've never multi-tabled before, try it out in a puppy or something first if you would like. One thing that helps, though, is if you just build with a similar draft style in all of the drafts that you're multi-tabling. So an example would be to just build every single team 4 RB starts, cut it at 4. And why that helps is just, when you're on the clock and you're trying to be like, what did I do in this draft? You at least know anything but running back, right? You're in round 12. You're like, I don't know what to do. Take a wide receiver, take a quarterback, take a tight end. Doesn't matter. We did get our first filled. Yeah, these fill rates are not great to me getting all 10, but hey, we'll see. 10 to 15 minutes. We're about 2 minutes in. We'll see how many we get filled, and we'll just draft that. I'm not going to change the title. I'm not going to change the thumbnail. So if I don't do 10, people didn't want the smoke. NFL news, very minor, but the Patriots made another puzzling decision, I would say. They traded Joe Milton in a 7th round pick. That is their backup quarterback, who they took in the 6th round last year, to the Cowboys for their 5th round pick. So effectively, they traded last year's 6th and this year's 7th for 5th this year. This is obviously bad business on the Patriots end, in the sense that having a cheap backup quarterback, pretty valuable thing to have if you are tight for cap. Now, obviously, the Patriots are not tight for cap. So why did this happen? Well, I'd say it's multitude. Number one, Joe Milton did beat the Bills backups week 18. And that cost the Patriots the first overall pick. So maybe a little bit happening there. Number two, obviously, Mike Vrabel did not draft Joe Milton. And Mike Vrabel's going to do Mike Vrabel things. Wouldn't be surprising for him to bring in a Vrabel crony, say Ryan Tannehill, to be the backup. Not that that's likely, because they already have Josh Dobbs as a backup there. I think it's good business by the Cowboys. Joe Milton, some people were interested in. And if Dak falls off a cliff post-injury and Milton works out, well, you just got a starting quarterback for a 5th round pick, right? Obviously, they did this with Trey Lance, and Trey Lance is in the Canadian League or whatever. So does it always work for them? No. Let's see. Let's just go into a bunch of Discords and say in the next 10 drafts. Stop by Davis's. We'll stop by Pete's. And of course, we'll explicitly say it in mine as well. Let's go. If this was Basketball Mania season, these would snap, Phil. But enthusiasm, not as high at this time. So we got an Achan Amon-Ra start. It really is tough to choose at the pick 9, right? It's like Amon-Ra, Nico, Brian Thomas. These 3 guys I like a lot. And then Ginty, CMC, Achan. These 3 dudes could be RB1. There's no wrong choices here. I think the answer is just to take all of them. Okay, 6 minutes in. I mean, flop of an idea to just think that we could fill 10 random big boards with no advertising. It's not working. But that's fine. Might just not get to the max. Good morning, sir. I've done this, and by this I mean drafting a lot of teams at the same time. I've done this the past couple of years on DraftKings Best Ball just because I procrastinated. Geez, numbers going down. To varying degrees of success. 2 years ago, I advanced 50 teams. It's pretty crazy. That's 2 times the advance rate. It was chaos, though. Let's get him filled, Jono. We're at least going to be having 2 going. I think optimistically, we're going to get the 3. I don't really feel like making a 3-hour video, though, for me to get to all 10. So we'll pick this back up. Yeah, I'll take a falling Terry. It's really easy on Underdog too, where you can see they put the upcoming drafts here. Let's see. We did pull the 104 in this one. This start is Achan, Amon-Ra, Terry. This is a good way too to vary your exposure somewhat. Just because you're like, who to click. Although sometimes I feel like I just, like the year on DraftKings, I advanced 50 teams. I just kept on taking Kyron Williams, Rico Dowdle, etc. Can't wait for the draft. April 24th, 21 days. Good morning. Let's see. Can we get a third one filled? People are always saying, hey, I want to draft against you. Now's your time. Let's go Jefferson in this one. After fading Jefferson a couple years in a row, not really that purposeful. Last year it was because of quarterback concerns, and I just thought Jamar Chase was a better pick. This year I find myself hammering him because, I just like going the elite wide receivers over the Saquons of the world. Not that I never take those dudes. And a little bit what happens at wide receiver is people are like, I can't choose Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Puka. They all feel so good. Where at running back, you're like, oh, I would much rather have Saquon than Josh Jacobs. In the DK streets, yeah, I don't think, I mean, you got to really work at it to max on DK in the sense that I can pull it up for you. $27.5 out of 117.5. So DraftKings is 23% filled in their $10 one. Underdog is 75% filled. I agree with this. Like, I like the idea of maxing on DraftKings, but I have a feeling that's not going to come close to happening. Yeah, you can't bulk enter. The UI is bad. I agree. So we might get a third filled. In news around the world, the American economy is going crazy with these Trump tariffs. I don't know, folks. Famously, that's what we do here, Terrence. Known to be donating EV on this channel. Wow. An A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson start? Let's go. I believe by the word tempering, you mean tampering, maybe? Clarify. Clarify what you mean there. Sure, Tet. Why not? Is it, by the way, you used to be able to not import rankings on any site. It is so much easier with rankings. Put a lot of care into my rankings, so. Waiting for the Wall Street Journal to report on how the tariffs and the corresponding economy shifts will affect the best ball mania player pool. Yeah, I mean, Keenan Allen could be going to Congress, right? Should we be drafting him? I mean, my take here is my opinion because I don't think it's exactly known what DraftKings does or doesn't do. But I know Underdog does collusion checks. I know Underdog cancels drafts because they send you emails, right? So I know that happens. I've heard of drafts getting canceled on DraftKings, but I've seen some wild drafts that are not canceled. So, and also they're not transparent about it, where one year in the high stakes streets, it was like a 5-5-5 draft. Some dude, I forget what he did, but he, did something probably like taking Jared Goff in the first round, took whatever, Jonathan Brooks in the second round, something that was insane, right? And I emailed them. I was like, hey, this is happening. This threatens the integrity of the contest, right? Like you should monitor this and cancel it. And they sent me an email back being like, every drafter can do what they want, basically. And I was like, okay, great. Now maybe their stance has changed there. I don't know. Looks like we did get 3 in. I'm going to leave these ones. So if you came here for 10 drafts, you got rug pulled to 3. And honestly, most streams of mine going forward might be something like this. It's not that hard to multi-table drafts and talk. Can't tariff my best ball entries. Amen, brother. Amen. What makes a draft wild to not be canceled? Like taking things like Danny Amendola in the first round. That's pretty wild to me. Taking RJ Harvey in the third. These are examples of things that sometimes happen over there. Yeah, Donnie saying, this is very common. I did a $1 draft the other day, and round 1 and 2, multiple players were taking players ranked in the 200s, just leaving monster teams. That draft is still active. Yeah, like that would never happen on Underdog, to my knowledge. That would be canceled. And then you'd have someone complaining, being like, you shouldn't cancel drafts. Obviously, that should get canceled. But I don't know. It's a hard line, right? Like, let's say someone enters a draft and for whatever reason, they're like, I really want to get Zach Charbonnet in this draft. And so they queue them, something that I think is terrible and you should never do. Should we then, they queue them and then they auto out, they take Zach Charbonnet in the second. Should we then cancel that draft because that person made a mistake? Tough line. Sure. Khalil Shakir, come on down. So this one, we passed on Jaden Daniels. Sorry, guys. COVID remnants still getting me here. Let's go Neighbors. I never get Neighbors. Yeah, see, like you took Tank Bigsby at pick. By 101, I'm assuming you mean like the first overall pick. And it's like, first off, the way Underdog does it, to my knowledge, is they're not always doing it like the second it happens. I believe what happens is they feed all the drafts into their system, and then they start mass canceling closer to contest close. So maybe that draft still will get canceled. But also, like, should that one be canceled? If I looked at your draft history and I was like, okay, this guy always drafts normal. He randomly took Tank at the 101. And then he drafted normal. I don't know if that's enough to get that one canceled. If instead it was you took Tank at the 101 and then Javonte in the second and then Will Shipley in the third, that should get canceled. So I don't know. I'm obviously no expert. No site says 100% what they do because obviously the people trying to collude would learn from that. And my opinion, just because this comes up every year and we're on the topic, collusion is not a worry in best ball. Does it feel good to think that someone is trying to do that? No. But why is it not a worry? Well, because I could let you choose who's on your team. and you're probably not making it to the finals. And also, you're probably not winning, right? Like, go ahead, show up with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and Christian McCaffrey. And then, what happened? Xavier Legette scored 40 points. You lose, you know? Yeah, the star method. Star method has cost a lot of people. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, sure. 3+ accounts in the same room. I mean, obviously, that's very easy to catch. If the same 3 people keep on entering drafts, doesn't take a genius to connect some dots there. So, if you're that worried about it, don't play best ball. Pretty easy solution. However, there are much easier things to cheat at, such as online poker. So, yeah, I don't know. Seems pretty crazy that anyone would waste the time trying to cheat a tournament best ball. Let's go Worthy. Let me let my cat in. Come on, Will. Got my trusty ring with the chain. Oh, we're on the clock in 2 places. Yeah, getting some running backs makes sense for this team. Let's go Chase. So a very balanced team by us here. Let's take Kirk. My recommendation to folks would be to simply never enter a draft and star someone with an ADP of 100 plus. Like, if you're that worried that you're not going to remember to draft that guy, I don't know. Just take him in the 80s. Don't open yourself up to starring a player and autoing them. So, pretty nice balanced team here. Got an elite quarterback, got 2 running backs, got 5 wideouts, got a tight end. I think zooming out also helps multi-tabling. Tet and Henderson, very intrigued where these guys go in the draft. Let's do B-Rob. Could definitely be a loser in the draft, but operating with the info we have currently. Always fun to get a Hurts double stack with Hurts a little bit past ADP. I missed the steam on Harold Fannin caught this week. My bags are next to nothing on him, but curious why everyone seems back in on him. Yeah, Donnie, this is just an opinion. I don't actually know. But my guess there is that, I mean, number one, he led everyone in college in receiving. So that seems pretty good. Then he had like a bad combine, but a good 3 cone or something. And so people are kind of like, whatever. And then probably what happens there, just because I've seen this too on Twitter or whatever, is like probably like one person digs deeper into it. And then they're like, hey, actually, this guy could be good. And then other people dig into it and they all just start like posting about him. And that's probably just how algorithms work, where they're like, someone's posting about Fannin, someone else posts about Fannin. So, like, yeah. And I wouldn't say, I mean, I've seen people post about him, but I mean, his ADP is still 217. What are the odds Pickett is week 1 starter? I mean, that is a question I've spent zero energy thinking about. And yeah, I don't see how it helps us. Unless you wanted to say fade all Browns players. Very low, like near 5%, in my opinion. I just don't see why the Browns would do that. But hey, we've seen if that happened, that's the same thing that happened with Mitch Trubisky, right? Mitch Trubisky was bad, backed up Josh Allen, got to go be the Steelers starter. Let's take Bo Nix. A Bo Nix Jalen Hurts combo seems pretty fun. Yeah, this is obviously wrong. Some people do think that way, but let's see here. I think we're going to take Stroud. Get a second quarterback paired with Christian Kirk there. And yeah, let's go Godwin. Let's say he is the week 1 starter. Would he be a good pick around 20? See, that's what I'm talking about, Rock. Like, if you are thinking, this is how I'm going to win best ball, I'm going to draft Kenny Pickett when no one else does, you're playing bad, right? I'm not going to mince words there. No, Kenny Pickett is not going to be the solution to you winning best ball tournaments, right? And the reason there is multiple. I mean, number one, he's Kenny Pickett. Number two, what upside? Right? I mean, like, look, obviously do what you want. I think it's very bad, though, if you're doing things like this. Because, again, and I say this a lot, but having a unique quarterback is not that valuable. Think about showing up to week 17. You're in the finals. You achieved what you're trying to do. Let's go Trey Harris. So congrats. You made the finals. Now, you have the only Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett scores 22 points. Did he help you win the contest? No, obviously not. 22 points is not separating from the field. He's probably outscored by like 10 quarterbacks. You know? Now, let's say the year Kyron Williams was a 20th round pick and he scored like 25 points at running back. Let's pretend you're the only team to show up with Kyron Williams because you took a stab on a rarely drafted running back. Are you going to win the contest now? Well, yeah, you're very much more likely to win the contest because 25 points at running back could comfortably be the RB1. So you could be gaining 15 points on teams, 20 points on teams, you know? So no, having a rarely drafted quarterback is quite useless. Are there like miracle years where Kenny Pickett scores 40 week 17? I'm sure they exist, but it's quite bad to do. Do you have your winning Best Ball Mania lineup posted anywhere or drafted on video? Would love to see the construction. You know, Donnie, I've definitely posted it a lot, but that is something I think I'm going to do. I think I'll just make like a long form video, aka like a 10-minute video, just being like, here's my winning BBM2 team. So I'm gonna make that video, but someone literally texted me last night about the team, and I could recall every player except one. So I'll just read it off for you. You ready? Josh Allen, Justin Fields. Justin Fields did nothing that year. Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, Jeff Wilson after he got hurt, Damian Harris, and of course, Rashad Penny. Jamar Chase, Amari Cooper, Cole Beasley, Christian Kirk, Chase Claypool, Diami Brown, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Oh, I remember the last player, Tyler Boyd. I don't remember how many wide receivers I listed. Noah Fant and Mike Gesicki. And the construction was roughly 2 RB, 2 wide receivers and a quarterback. Two tight ends in the mid rounds. And then a third running back around like round 8. Two other running backs late. A bunch of wide receivers late. I don't see the difference in picking Pickett versus Dart, Milton, and Milrow. Okay, well, number one, no one's making you pick any of that. Number two, Jackson Dart, the reason why I and other people are taking him is he might be a week 1 starter and go in the first round. Right? So, I mean, look, Rock, do what you want, man. Clearly, you want to take Kenny Pickett. You think it's an edge. I think it's terrible. I'm not here to stop people doing that. Okay. I mean, now we're nitpicking choosing a 1% owned running back week 17 that scores 25 points. We're getting well actually on that. Well, actually, yeah, I mean, honestly, I would like if everyone took Kenny Pickett and co. I'm just telling you, I think it's very bad. And in short, the reason is because quarterbacks don't separate. But the beautiful thing about best ball, people are going to do this every single year. I think it was quite bad of people to be drafting Sam Darnold in volume before McCarthy got hurt. Those people got bailed out, right? And there were people doing that. I bet we can find some weird things here. On BBMDB, let's see. Jameis Winston. No, I think. What do I want here? No, that's not it either. I don't really quite remember how to Kenny Pickett. Okay, no. Like what I'm trying to find is the person who drafted a player the most, which I guess you can't explicitly look up. Wow. Just cleared the finals. Gonna have to figure out some running backs on this team. I think drafting Aaron Rodgers is fine because he's probably going to be the week 1 starter of the Steelers, right? So a 2 QB build is optimal if a third quarterback at pick 20 is pointless. I mean, that's not what I said, but I think 2 QB is always better, but you have to that's not what I said at all. So maybe you just want to argue. There are some folks like that, but let me explain it. If you go Josh Allen, then yes, going 3 QB is bad in my opinion. If you take Jaden Daniels, taking 3 QBs is bad in my opinion. If you take Derek Carr and then Shadur Sanders, do you think that team needs a third quarterback? Yes. Does that third quarterback have to be a guy, Kenny Pickett, who's probably not starting any games this year? No, it doesn't have to be that. And it probably should not be that, right? But this is enough talk about Kenny Pickett, right? So teams that need a third quarterback, getting one that's going to start all 17 games, that's quite good, right? Like drafting Bo Nix, that was quite good. You know what? We're going to punish the room. They're just giving us wide receiver values, trying to starve us at running back. We're going to go volume there. Goddard made sense too. But some nice values here on Egbuka, Hollywood, Keenan, and Trey. This room's acting weird. Some people hoarding running backs. We got jokers. We got jokers over here. I mean, I just don't see why. To me, it's ridiculous because first off, Rock is a cool name if that's your official name. But what has Kenny Pickett shown that any team is going to want him to be their week 1 starting plans? Nearly nothing, right? Let's go Henry over here. We'll go Jonnu. And then we'll take Purdy to pair with Ayuk. Yeah, I take Kirk Cousins occasionally because I personally think he's going to be the Browns starter. But only when I have to, right? I don't want to be gambling on guys who are probably not going to be starting quarterbacks and are probably not fantasy relevant if they are, right? It's not like Kenny Pickett is Justin Fields, where you're like, hey, this guy has 40-point upside if he's starting. That could separate. What are you hoping for with Kenny Pickett? I mean, I think Eric's just mad that didn't put it in the markets, man. Yeah, Daniel Jones, I also think it's pretty thin. Like going Richardson and Jones, a little bit of credence there. Because you're securing a probably pretty good fantasy quarterback. Going just Daniel Jones, I don't think so. I personally think the Browns are going to trade for Kirk Cousins, or I think they will like draft Jackson Dart or trade up for Shadur. So okay, this team obviously going to stop at 2 QBs. Probably going to stop at 8 wide receivers. Don't really want to, but kind of have to. Might stop at 2 tight ends and just going to take a bunch of running backs and hope something sticks. People giving me a hard time because I didn't know Rock Hardcastle isn't a real name. I mean, it could be. I'm sure there's a Rock Hardcastle somewhere, right? Can the real Rock Hardcastle please stand up? Um. All right, let's go. Let's go Giddens. Triple rookies. Let's go. All right. This running back room almost feels grosser than a team with only 3. This is the team that it just needs to hit a lot of wide receivers to work. And you could see this working out. Just doesn't give me a warm feeling. I'm going to take Isaiah Bond anyways. Some people are saying that his off the field issues are similar to Jermaine Burton. Let's see how the draft goes. Let's see if he gets drafted. Yeah, Algier, a no-brainer. Was going to take him before, so. I mean, running back room could be worse over here. Henderson and Caleb, both these guys could go round 2. Giddens, he could sneak into the 3rd or 4th. Algier, just a fine backup. Crushing it at quarterback. Crushing it at wideout. Got a good tight end. Yeah, I think my big board plan is just going to be to buy the J.K. Dobbins dip. It goes like in the 150s at time. I think we're going to take Kraft here. That's a fun duo to stop at. Very thin at wide receiver here, especially with Godwin and Ayuk. Big questions. But we're done at quarterback. We're probably going 5 running back with these 3. We're done at tight end, so just going to take a lot of bodies here. So yeah, Trey Harris, come on down. It is tempting to go like Loveland or something like that, but we just need to be taking a lot of wideouts. Do you want one more tight end over here? We're going to go Michael Wilson first, though. Michael Wilson's ADP last year, it's like the 120s, man. Pretty wild. Pretty wild to look at last year's draft board. Yeah, I don't think much has changed for Dobbins, right? I don't think it's surprising he's not signed yet. I still think he could land in a good situation. Is he a guy to count on all year? No, but like here I got him at pick 153. Could he be a zero? Yes, he could be a zero. And typically the way the market reacts when players could be zeros is they're just like they are zeros. We got a 4-4-5-2. Let's see what this guy's cooking up. Fields, Dak, Herbert, Tua, Achane, Brown, Mixon, Jerome Ford, Lamb, Garrett, Debo, Golden, Aya, Minor, Jonnu, Warren, Strange. Maybe I should do another stream. How many picks do I have here left? 5 more picks. All right. Well, let's take Gesicki. So we do need another tight end. And Gesicki is a pretty appealing click to me. Like 700 yards last year. Just needs the touchdowns to come. I think Palmer, if I needed wideout, would have been good. But yeah, we're just going to take a lot of running backs. So. DraftKings contest only at 23% full. How much overlay do you think it gets? We were talking about this. I'm going to guess 25% overlay, probably minimum. Just a guess, though. I know drafting a bunch of similar teams is really bad game theory-wise. Is it similarly advisable, unadvisable to hit one player at close to 100% late if you feel very strongly and the rest of the team is varied? Good question. Yikes. Let's go Fannin, just because someone asked about him earlier. And then we're just taking a bunch of darts at running back. Let me get some picks here and I'll answer that question. Let's take Kyle Williams. Yeah. I feel pretty good about my ranks. He's one guy I got to get up. Just in the off chance Chris Sims is right. Definitely need some wideouts over here. We barely take this Jalen Coker fella, so let's get him. Okay, so first off, building similar teams needs a better definition by you. Building similar structures with different players, that seems fine to me. If you mean what, like, the Wizard dude was doing last year, drafting effectively the same exact team 150 times, or what Hit Him with the Gritty does, yeah, that is quite bad. We need a tight end here. You know what? Best Ball Mania champion, Noah Fant. Let's go. And we just took Gesicki, guys. Wow, we just won the big board. Because remember, my BBM2 team had Gesicki and Noah Fant. Just drafted both of them. Anyway, so drafting the exact same team, bad. Right? Because, and if you're confused why, the answer is you can only win the contest once. So you want to give yourself a better chance of reaching the finals and doing well. and simply plucking all the players out of thin air and being like, these are the guys, that's hubris. Taking a player at near 100% is a variance question, where the cheaper it is, the easier it is to get away with, because there's less punishment if you're wrong, right? Where obviously the easy example is if you were to 100% take Justin Jefferson, you better hope he's the guy you need week 17 and he has the best season. And the opportunity cost to do that is very high, because it could be Brian Thomas, it could be CeeDee Lamb, it could be Malik Neighbors. These guys are all really good at fantasy football. If you were to 100% take Diami Brown, well, probably even if you're wrong, you won't get punished, because it's not like MVS is a great bet. It's not like Troy Franklin is a world beater. DeAndre Hopkins is 38, right? So, yeah, in short, the cheaper it is, the easier it is to get away with. The year I won BBM2, I had like 60% Gabe Davis, just because I was very confident he was the wide receiver 2 in Buffalo, and I thought the market was very wrong there. Gabe Davis had an okay year. Didn't quite work out how I wanted it to, but yeah. Last year, I had 30% max of a player. Not really intentionally, but just ended up varying it more. No, the exact same team is pretty bad. Jeez, man. All right, we're just going to take every flyer with these last 3 picks. Yeah, 35% Tank Dell killed me last season. That hurt you because Tank Dell was a 3rd/4th round pick, so it was pretty expensive. 30% Chuba helped you? Yeah, he was very cheap, and he was one of the best picks in fantasy, right? That's one where you would have been like, I would take 100%. But what are we going to do here? Let's take Josh Palmer. His ADP is rising. Let's take Will Shipley. We're shorting Saquon. Sure, there are cases. 100% Jonnu, 30% Big Mike. If you mean Mike Williams, not so much. Dang, Alec Pierce one, I would have taken him. Let's go old man Eckler. Fits the mold of these guys. All pass catching backs. Oh, Mike Evans? Sure. I don't know what you're asking. Is 4 quarterback ever defensible in these 20-round drafts? I would say yes. Pretty strictly when they're your last 4 picks. The year I won BBM2, I also got like 6th in the puppy. And what the team was, is it was like a 0 running back team, or hero running back team, that turned into a 0 running back team. So it went something like CMC, who got hurt that year. And then I had like Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, Mike Williams, Michael Pittman. I had like a bunch of good wide receivers. You had Mark Andrews and Kyle Pitts, who were both expensive tight ends. And then the 4 quarterbacks were like Ben Roethlisberger, his last year in the league, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, and like Derek Carr or something like that. So, yeah, I think when you end the draft with 4 quarterbacks, it's defensible. I also think when you're in a weird room where they like hoard quarterbacks and you're forced to do something like Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston or Kirk Cousins and Jackson Dart, like guys who are not necessarily starting, I think it's fine then too. So yeah, I do it occasionally when I have to. I'm very rarely planning to do it. So very rarely I'll enter a draft and be like, this draft I'm going to end with 4 quarterbacks. I usually do like once a year like that. For 20 rounds. For 18 rounds, it's obviously much worse. Which it was in the puppy when I won. Or got 6th or whatever. So this team's weird. Quarterbacks feel good. Wideouts feel good, but also questionable. And then we're just taking a lot of flyers at running back. Yeah, that seems fine. 29% Terrence Ferguson. Like, he's probably not going to be a league winner, so that is something I wouldn't want to do. Why is Cam Akers just get the little running back tag? All right. Let's go Gibson. So we got 1 draft left. Like, I probably had 30% Will Shipley and Luke McCaffrey, but I was making those bets with the hope. I mean, number one, these guys were cheap, but I was hoping that they would be league winners. And obviously they weren't, right? So, but it didn't kill me. I still reached the finals. I still had a good year. All right, Amari Cooper. Pick 203. This team's weird. Who's a worse click this season, Corley or Polk? I think Malachi Corley is a worse pick than Jalen Polk for a couple reasons. Number one, he was a 3rd round pick and not a 2nd round pick. Number 2, his quarterback is Justin Fields and not Drake May. Yeah, I mean, look, taking stabs at the Commanders and Eagles offense, it was a good idea, right? Trying to get Saquon's backup, it was a good idea. It just didn't work. No, we don't do that. We don't do that here because everyone would want it. We do it for super chats, though. As we will teach the stream, money always talks. Money always talks here. Yeah, Lazard. Jeez, man. So this team feels good, but also, yeah. Because it's like, okay, 2 good quarterbacks, not too expensive on them. 5 running backs, 3 of which feel good to really good. You got 9 wide receivers, couple probably really good, some injury questions, bunch of flyers. And I'm, like a third tight end always makes sense, but I'm just going to stop at 2 with Jonnu and Kraft, who could be tight end 1 and 2, so don't see the need. Probably just going to chuck 2. Might just chuck 2 more wide receivers, honestly. Are we doing another draft after this? No. We started this stream with the hope that I was going to do 10 drafts at the same time, and I only got 3 filled, so is what it is. Just go ahead and take Pickett, man. Clearly, you get joy out of taking Kenny Pickett, so you should do it. That's my advice to you. Do what brings you joy in life. You think you're getting one over on us. I've already clearly laid out. I think it's terrible. Do what you like, though, friend. Miles Sanders, man. The wish casting on Twitter from fans is just like insane. I follow a lot of Bills beat writers, and some of them are being like, will the Cowboys trade the 12th overall pick for James Cook and pick 30? No, they will not. Absurd. If Kenny Pickett becomes the guy you need, I'm simply going to lose. And be like, wow, that was crazy. People played pretty bad and won. This guy's got a Lamar Goff, Darnold Rodgers team. This is a bad team to do 4 QB on, obviously. Let's take D-Rob. Might be the key to get into Ayuk, And why not? Deontay. Someone will sign Deontay, I hope. All right, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you watching the stream. Like, subscribe, get rankings at beatbestball.com. We had multiple people go for QB. Oh, no, this is the same guy. Might be back 2-5-11 too. Yeah, but, could I have taken a 6th running back? Yes, I could have. But, so many of these guys are maybe zeros where you need a lot of them to get by. So we do it here. Like, subscribe. Might be back tomorrow. Might be back next week. Peace out. Join the Discord. Links below.